Grand sponsor 愛します。
おはしばまして。おはしぼりです。
Grand sponsors McDonald's 愛します。
俺はもう死んでる。
俺はノン死んでる。
何？
はしまました。Benです。
Alright, we're in the Texan desert and let's talk about some anime.
What?
in the hills of like Nevada.
I'm in the hills of Nirvana and I'm going to talk about some anime. Okay, so we're going to talk about our 3x3s of animes, the Japanimations. Welcome to
DodgyBox Podcast.
I'm going to start with good old Unusual Box's selection. You guys, how familiar you are with some of these? I think there's someone here you guys probably never seen.
There's a good few I haven't seen, but obviously thanks to you, I've seen Princess Tutu now. I've been educated.
Yeah, you better.
I know of the names of most of these, but
Yeah,
I've only seen 3 of them.
I feel like that will be the case, that you'll know them by reputation more than actually having seen them. But I think among the kind of anime community, a lot of these are big hitters. So I think some of these won't be a surprise to some viewers. Starting at the top, we got quote unquote Trigger's kind of first thing. Technically it's Gynax, but it was the thing that fueled Trigger to be created in a lot of ways. For that studio, the people who created Kill la Kill. It's Panty and Stockings, the world's greatest innuendo anime. It is just the innuendo, the anime. There's nothing else to really be said about it. It's got some good stuff going on in it, man. I really like Panty and Stockings. It's got a lot of ridiculousness, some wacky animations. It was like they stopped caring about making quality animation after Gurren Lagann. I was just like, whatever. We're going to make this cartoon.
Mate, it's the art style and like all the crazy adult things that they didn't really care.
It looked so good as well. For a simplistic art style, it always looked really aesthetically pleasing. That was the great part about it. And even when it was just like a slideshow, it was still fun.
It is literally beautiful, and it's got that crazy kind of like huge kind of legs and hands thing going.
Yeah, with the thick thighs and stuff like that. And it was still somehow sexy.
It's not the thighs; it's kind of like the shins.
Yeah, it's almost kind of got that My Little Pony design. Do you know what I mean? Where like they got the thick ends of the hands and stuff. It's kind of neat.
Mm.
Who would you say is the main character of Panty and Stockings?
I don't really know, to be honest. Panty usually seems to be the more prominent of the two.
Yeah.
Although Stocking is clearly the most lovable of them, and is
Wrong.
Definitely the best character.
Wrong.
You need Stocking out.
I'll fight you.
She's clearly best character, man.
I'll fight you. No, well, I've had this talk with people when it was really fresh, and people don't talk about it as much anymore, sadly. But when it first came out, I was like, well, Panty's clearly the main character of this show, but like a country mile. It's got her entire arc. She's always kind of prominent in the center, and weirdly, like Stockings ends up being kind of like a foil to her, and only has really 2 or 3 episodes that focus on her, whereas the whole climax is about Panty. Climax.
Oh, in your end, though, man.
Yeah. Oh, Garter Belt's great. He's just a weirdo. He may or may not be a paedophile.
He's definitely a sadomasochistic paedophile.
He's definitely sadomasochistic and gay, but I don't know. A lot of people, have sexual orientations towards Brief throughout the show. So I don't know. If you call him a paedophile, you're calling Panty a paedophile.
This is the whole thing, though. Depending, trying to work out their actual age.
Well, they're angels. They're thousands of years old. They're angels. They're thousands of years old. Every episode is just a gimmick episode. Like it's a whole series of innuendo gimmick episodes where they're parodying something. There's a zombie episode. There's a high school episode. There's a beach episode. There's an episode
that's a sperm episode.
There's a sperm episode, which is basically like Cells at Work but with sperm. So many things probably ripped this off. This show. There's like the finale just plays homage to Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio for some reason. I don't know
So
why.
Isn't there an episode nearly entirely about cake?
Yes, there is. There's an episode where like Stocking starts dating a really gross dude for some reason. There's lots of shenanigans. It's comedy,
Yeah, man.
innuendo, everything you
What
want.
are you doing?
Oh yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? There's a Transformers rip-off. Oh my god, it's got everything. It's one of those ones you just have to experience. It does so much wild stuff. Yeah, I mean, not many shows can boast to have an episode where there's Transformer sex in it. Think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's what that is. I'll move on. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Outlaws.
And you should definitely know Stocking's best character.
No, fuck. all right. So, Outlaw Star is the forgotten space western, I think, of anime. It came out roughly the same time as Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, and a lot of people talk about Cowboy Bebop, and Trigun even gets some notoriety to it, but not many people actually come back to talk about Outlaw Star. And there's a lot of like weird space politics, and I feel like a lot of shows took from Outlaw Star in a big way. Have any of you guys seen it?
No.
No.
Although, looking at it, the main guy character just reminds me of the main guy from Final Fantasy Unlimited.
He has got that kind of vibe to him, but he's not a somber, I'm just a Final Fantasy protagonist kind of character. He's a sleazebag. In the first episode, he just sleeps around with a prostitute, and then like he's like a bounty hunter to begin with. He thinks himself an outlaw in this sci-fi universe, and they take a lot from a lot of things in Outlaw Star. But basically, there's three factions that control the Wild West that is universe exploration, which is the United Space Forces, the Pirate Empire, and Outlaws. And Outlaws basically don't really listen to anybody and just kind of deal with their own business. Pirates basically want to rule the skies with an iron fist, and the Alliance basically wants to bring law and order to space, so they're like the sheriffs of space. It's basically a space western, and it's all about this treasure hunt, which is a la Treasure Island, where they get this bio-android girl called Malfema, and she's basically the navigation unit for their ship that leads them to this place called the Galactic Ley Line, which is like a great source of energy.
I feel like this was around the same time. Well, not necessarily the same time, but it was a big thing where a lot of people either watched this or they watched Cowboy Bebop and never really watched both.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of that going on between the crowd, but I think in the end, Cowboy Bebop became more mainstream, thus became the talking point. It might be because Cowboy Bebop was, I don't know, more mature.
See, I remember like the name quite prominently from people discussing it, but that's probably just from the time it was around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nuance in the show. I've got the Blu-ray. I can always like throw it your way. It'll be much easier than giving you a hard drive or something. But yeah, you either fell into this Trigun or Cowboy Bebop, and when you were young, you kind of stuck to one show, didn't you? And you didn't really dip your toes into the other. Be like,
I did Trigun and Cowboy Bebop. So.
Yeah, but I'm imagining one came out on top for you, right?
I think you'll see that shortly.
Yeah, but yeah. So this is my sci-fi western that of choice, and it also has airs of Star Wars in it, with like the whole Empire and stuff, kind of being a faction about it. And he has kind of Luke Skywalker jazz to him of being this like nobody who rises up to special greatness because of things falling into his lap. And he's kind of got a mentor in the way of Hot Eyes Hilda at the beginning of the series, which is kind of his Obi-Wan. So there's a lot of that going on in it. Yeah, so I went on a bit of a rant there because I know none of you have seen it and probably have nothing to say about it.
The first rule of Outlaw Star: you do not talk about Outlaw Star.
No, please do. Please tell everyone. Princess Tutu.
She's a princess and a tutu. Game over.
I'll say one thing about it, and then I want Kim to give her take on it because she's recently watched it. So Princess Tutu is if Cardcaptor Sakura and Ballet had a baby.
So when you say that, all I'm imagining is like somebody doing a pirouette and like firing a card out of their groin.
Wow.
Take the cards away, but like like a lot of the fights in it are resolved through dance. So it's a hard sell to some people because it is quite it's quite sissy, to be honest. Like, but I think, I don't know, it's got some nuance to it that I really like, and it's also really meta, and it like plays around with story narrative in a way that I've never really seen a series do, where they kind of take the idea of it being based on fables and really go with it. Also, every character gets really good development in the series, I find. There's like four main characters in it. Duck, Valkyr, Minato, and Krahe, and they all have, even the villain, Drosselmeyer, has a really good like character arc throughout the 2 seasons of it.
Oh man, Drosselmeyer.
Oh yeah. Drosselmeyer is really interesting. I mean, it's creepy, and he's supposed to be creepy. He's basically the storyteller of it.
Certainly
Yeah.
was.
I love it. I mean, you know, if I was a little girl, I would be cosplaying Tutu. Take it away, Kim. Give me some insight into what you thought.
It's definitely something that you shouldn't take like super serious at face value. It's more an experience that you just have to go along with.
Oh yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, completely.
Because I feel like a lot of maybe modern or newer anime viewers would go into it thinking, well, what the fuck's going on? Nobody's saying anything. You know, where's the fight scenes? Where's the like very direct narrative? And it's like, no. You don't go into it with that. You just experience it.
Yeah, and the reason I use Card Captors as kind of an example is that in Card Captors, there's not really per se fights. Like, it's her sussing out what the deal is with each card and then sealing it. Like, there's 1 or 2 fights in it towards the very end, and there's even 1 or 2 fights in Tutu, but most of the time it's her, you know, kind of trying to express feelings towards someone through dance, and it's very much like a ballet or a stage show like that. But I do think it's one of those perfect fantasy stories that has a bit of meta commentary, a little bit. It juggles a lot of things, and it
Duck's
does it
a very
well.
sweet main character. You do root for her throughout the entire thing.
And she's kind of rubbish as well, which I like about her in a lot of ways, like as a character.
Yeah, she's not super OP. She,
Yeah.
you know, she fails, she stumbles. She doesn't have all the answers.
Madoka! Who knows anything about Madoka?
I haven't watched it, but it's fairly infamous.
Oh yeah. What were you going to say, Ben?
So I know it's a thing. It exists. That's all I
You
know.
know it exists. Jam, any prior knowledge of Madoka?
Nope, no idea.
Like, look at its picture. Well, it has what appears to be 6 girls.
I like the train that happened here, because Madoka is a magical girl show, like Princess Tutu, but Madoka is a show that subverts itself very early on, and I'm guessing everyone's kind of heard about Madoka and its stick. Is that right here?
Yeah.
Or
That it gets really fucked up.
yeah, it's a magical girl show that gets dark, and it explains the way in which these people can be magical girls in a dark way. You know, in Sailor Moon, she gets these superpowers and she can just go around fighting crime, yeah? And in Cardcaptor Sakura, she gets superpowers from the cards and she can just go around and use this magic. No cost, no must. Until it gets further on. They have an explanation why they're so powerful and why they're able to fight off their villain, which is witches. And it's a dark realization as it goes along. And it turns out they're all kind of been manipulated by this like alien race of creatures that are basically like Kiraberos from Cardcaptor Sakura, but they're maniacal.
Oh god.
So like he shows up, he's like, you know, the Kiraberos of the story shows up, and he's like, "Do you want to be a magical girl? Save the world, you know, do the good things." And things start going awry. I don't want to give too much away of it, but I also put this in here particularly because I feel like it had a good ending, and then the movies came out, and then it had a perfect ending, which rarely happens with anime. You don't normally get a film complete the series in such a profound way, because the ending's kind of tragic and you feel kind of sorry for some characters. But then, who is technically the main character isn't Madoka in this. Madoka's kind of like the central point. She's this girl with the pink in the background, who the series kind of focuses around her fate and about her becoming a magical girl. But Homura, this girl here, is actually trying to look after her and
Mm.
kind of does a lot of things for her benefit because effectively, like, she has feelings for her. You don't really find out anything about that until later in the series, but it really, she's the main character, Homura. It's not actually Madoka at all. And the other characters are kind of superfluous, but they do mean something in the story because they're all related to Madoka. Yeah, so if you want kind of a twisted, dark magical girl show, it's the quintessential of it. That's what you want to see. Me. Mi's a short, so I think it's a bit of a cheat being here. But Mimi is probably the perfect piece of anime I've ever seen in my entire life. Have we all seen Me, the short from the...
Oh,
Anime
yes.
Day?
Yeah.
Man,
Yep.
if there wasn't a restriction on it, I'd so watch it right now.
Yeah. Me is just one of those ones where it has a perfect loop animation. It does a lot of really clever things with symbolism and things like that. And it's sexualized, but it's also depressing. And I don't know, you go on a journey throughout watching this show, and it's all about, repetitiveness and not being able to get out of a rut. And what was brilliant about it, I remember watching it for the first time when it was on its original website. I think the website's gone now. But when it was on its original website, I watched it, and it got to the end of the loop. And I had watched it 3 times before I realised the loop had happened. And I was just like, God, that's horrifying. It's like a well, because the original site just had it on loop, so that when it started, like, it finished where it started and it perfectly looped. And I just thought that's really clever, the way that that's done. And I do know looping animation is a really, like, essential thing in the media. And, like, to have done that in your entire thing and then still have all this kind of character to your thing, I don't know, it does everything right. Mononoke. I'm glad I can just move on now. I don't need to talk about it too much. Just go bloody watch it.
Get your blast over to YouTube and watch it, man.
Yeah, just go there. If you're over 18, just go there. If you're over 18, you wouldn't dare watch it if you're not over 18, surely. The world won't allow you to. It's impossible to watch things over 18 plus shows if you're not over 18 and you're on the internet. It's impossible. Can't happen. Princess Mononoke is my Ghibli film of choice. I like the mix of fantasy versus humans, and they're like encroaching science onto nature. There's a lot of that going on. I think it's a fairy tale, a modern day fairy tale, whatever you consider. If you consider Princess Mononoke modern, then sure. But I think it's like a modern day fairy tale that feels like, the old grim fairy tales. It has that same feel to me, and I think it's the only Ghibli film that really gets that feel spot on. All the other ones feel like theatrical films to me, whereas this one does feel like a folktale made into reality, which is why I like it, because it doesn't explain a lot to you. It just kind of throws you into this world, and you're expected to follow the adventures of this character without fully comprehending everything, which is why I like it.
Yeah, I was a bit confused the first time I saw it many years ago, and I just remember that the only sort of message that stuck with me afterwards was, don't piss off deer gods.
I don't know.
And that's the right message for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you should never piss off any gods, honestly. It's probably not good for your health.
Specifically, dear God.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh dear God.
Oh dear God.
I'm noticing now as I talk through these, there's a bit of a trend with my ones at the moment, which is I don't mind not having everything explained to me and letting me speculate on stuff that's going on in the background.
Yeah, now that you mention it.
Yeah, because a lot of these shows do allow you to elaborate your own thoughts onto things going on. I also think there's a really nice romance in Mononoke that I don't think every Ghibli film spots on. I think House is one of the few ones that has a really good romance in it. But yeah.
I don't know. For me, I found it was too long, and I actually would have got a bit bored when I watched it.
I can understand that. A lot of the Ghibli films do have a substantial length to them, and I don't really... Sometimes they could do it cutting out a bit more. But I don't feel like there's anything you could lose from that film. Like, I'm not disagreeing. I just think, what would you cut from Mononoke?
I could barely remember it, to be honest, because I just started to lose interest.
You know the rough story is the boy, he gets his arm cursed and he goes into the forest to find a way of curing himself and gets embroiled in this whole affair with people mining the mountainside and ruining nature, and then it's like the humans aren't really in the wrong, nature's not really in the wrong, but they can't find this middle ground between themselves because the humans need the mining to survive, but the animals are getting their land destroyed.
So it's like Avatar.
Yeah, it's that tale again. It is that tale. I imagine you're kind of joking, but but it is that tale. It's the tale of man encroaching on somebody's land and taking away from them, but they don't necessarily have a right to take, but also they don't have the people who were there originally don't have the right to deny it either, other than using force, and that's where it comes down to. So yeah, it is the kind of same tale as Avatar in a lot of retrospects. It's that story, but it's my favorite flavor of that story. Everyone, like, if you're in an anime anyway, everyone's got that Ghibli film they really hit harder than others. And Ghibli does do this thing where it's a bit unapologetic. They make these really manic stories and they expect people to just kind of like be okay with the nonsense they come up with.
I mean, mine's Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, and for me, Howl's Moving Castle, I find, was a bit meandrous because it did this thing where it had a really good start, and then the middle of the film, it's just them doing nothing until the ending. But I still enjoyed it because it was kind of a romance.
I feel like I can get that, but man, I love that film.
No, there's no exactly. Everyone's got their one.
The real question here, though, is does it have a talking fire?
No, instead it has cute little forest spirits, a talking wolf, talking pigs.
Well, I can't get behind that unless that giant forest there is on fire and talking.
I mean,
Oh Jesus!
there's a boar that goes on fire and talks. I'm just.
I can get behind that.
This is the one this used to be Code Geass, but now it's Fate Zero. It could have been either of them given the day of the week, quite honestly. But it's Fate Zero right now, which is basically a Macbethian story, but with a Fate Stay swing on it. So you've got Saber, or the whole battle royale, but with spirits of like epic heroes from past being summoned to fight for a holy grail. And
all I know is there's so many of these series, and I can never work out which one goes before and after which one.
Just watch Zero. Don't watch any of the others. Just watch Zero and maybe Fate Stay Night if you want. Zero's the best one. Fate Stay Night, Miranda's a bit, and the main character is a bit of a plonker, quite honestly.
A plonker.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to do evil things. I just want to be a good guy, and it's like I'm not willing to hurt or do anything. He's like a pacifist in a really weird way. I don't know.
Tally ho!
Yeah.
We should fight now, yes.
Yeah, and he substantially gets cooler the more jaded he becomes, which is a weird thing to say about the protag of a series. But Fate Stay Night doesn't really have a main character. It's a battle royale story, like any other battle royale story. So it's about everybody who's involved, and you're like, I wonder who's going to live through this kind of thing. And everyone's got their own philosophy as to why they're trying to get the Holy Grail to have their wish granted. Because the Holy Grail is apparently just a genie in the Fate Stay universe, where you go up to it and it'll give you anything you want. And so a bunch of these magicians come along and be like, we're going to summon these spirits so that we can participate in this Holy Grail war. And one of them is Saber, who's a version of King Arthur, but has boobies.
Because anime.
Because anime.
King Arthur.
For some reason, every Saber in the story is a cross-gender version of whoever they were for history. I don't know why that trend started, but then they can't stop. Every single time, all the Sabers are just that, except for in Apocalypse, where one of them is Siegfried. But there is still.
To be fair, when you get any of these trends, you just can't stop. It's like how there's now a dog as the mayor of a county in America.
Because why not?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
you probably do a better job.
It's a trend. It started like 20 years ago.
What's nice about Zero is every single character, you can get where they're coming from, even their summon spirits. And I'm like, none of the others do that. Only Zero gets that right. All the other ones have characters in it, the summon spirits, where you're like, I don't care. Medusa, you're just a weirdo who just likes going around killing people for no reason. There's a character like that in this one, but they're kind of justified. Yeah. But, yeah, it's a battle royale, but with cool magic and swordsmen and stuff. And Alexander's one of the best characters in that show. Because Alexandrius the Great shows up in this one, and he's just like, ha ha ha, I'm the greatest person in the universe. And he just goes around and just tells people how amazing he is and how he's the God King. And his whole stick is like, the person who summons him says, "Oh, I want admiration, and that's why I want the Holy Grail." And he turns around and is like, "That's a stupid wish. Why would you wish for that?" It's like, you should just wish for a couple of extra inches so you're taller.
Wow.
And he's just like,
Savage.
if you want admiration, the only way to really get it is to take it. And he's just that kind of character. He's really enjoyable. It's a wonderful kind of cast on that one. And it's Macbethian in the way that everyone portrays each other as well. It's a good romp. Zero's just a bunch of cool warriors fighting each other with their own philosophy about what they're going to do with the Grail. It's a cool watch. Watch Zero. Don't watch any of the others. Just watch Zero. It's gory as hell though. Just to give you a heads up, there's some weird stuff that goes on in that, like feeding a little girl to worms.
Wow.
Mob Psycho is just a really charming show, which is the other one to One Punch Man, the same writer, one. I like Mob Psycho more than One Punch Man so far. I feel like One Punch Man might take this when the anime finishes, but Mob Psycho is so charming. And a lot of people talk rubbish about the art style, but I think the art style is absolutely perfect. I think it looks amazing. Has anyone seen Mob Psycho?
No.
I've seen like clips of it.
Okay. There's the main character is basically a boy that has ESP powers, like psychic powers, and he's like one of the most powerful psychic users in the world. But he just wants to be a normal guy, and he gets taken under the wing of this guy called Raiden, who Reagan is just a con man that opened up a psychic's office, and he just kind of uses Mob, but he's also kind of nice to him. It's just, I mean, it's really charming because he's like, "Oh, I can't do anything with psychic powers." He literally has the power to like destroy buildings, and he could beat anybody he wants if he was to actually use his psychic powers. But he's like, "No, it doesn't make me cool." Like, and it's all because of this one thing where he had this crush on this girl when he was younger. He like showed off his psychic powers to this girl. Originally, she thought they were cool, and then she got bored, and he's like, "I can't get what I want with my psychic powers." So he has this like complex about it. And it's just it's Mob's journey, because Mob has this amazing journey through the show about his getting confidence and coming of age and the people he meets and being like kind of making friends and socializing and realizing that just because you have these abilities doesn't mean you can just use them to do what the hell you want.
So you're saying it's not an anime about a mob of 100 psychos?
No. Although there probably
That'd
is
be more
100
fun.
psychos in it.
That's unfortunate. I was like engaged shortly for that.
I mean, I believe there was a point where Mob Psycho, like Mob, who's the main character, definitely fights 100 psychos.
Engagement rising.
I mean, yeah, that happens. I recommend Mob Psycho. I reckon you give it a chance if you did stray away from it to begin with. I know a lot of people couldn't stand the art style and therefore couldn't get along with it. Kind of a JoJo-esque thing as well, you know, like how people don't get along with that because of the art. Yeah, but then they kind of get into it. But I think you kind of learn to know everybody in the town by the end of the series as well. It's got that charm to it, a bit like Durarara. Angel's Egg. I'll get onto my last one so we can finally move on, because I've taken too long as it is. I'm hoping that Jem and Kim's kind of combine into one. Angel Eggs.
Yeah, Carl, stop hogging all the time.
Yeah, I'm a terrible human being. I'm sorry. Angel Egg is my artsy fartsy one. It's like a really early one. So Ben, when he saw the picture, pointed out the guy who did the animation for the guy who did the original art for Final Fantasy and Fan Behind the D, Amundo, they did the art for this, and it's sort of concept. This is one of these stories where you watch it and it's really surreal and you don't necessarily get told a lot about the plot, but you're kind of watching an art piece, so it's not for everyone. I almost don't recommend it to anybody. But it's still like one of my favourite films of all time, because it's all about this guy wakes up and sees this horrific monstrosity rising out of the ground, and then it's about him coming across this young girl who's looking after a little egg and collecting water in this strange, almost ethereal, ghostly town. And she's taking care of this egg for no reason, just because she believes that it's going to hatch someday. And this guy follows her and then they say cryptic things to each other, and you don't quite know what's going on. Dark stuff ensues in the story, and he abandons the little girl, and then you get an ending that doesn't make any sense, and you kind of go like, oh, what's happening? And so yeah, it's like it's to anime what Dali's surrealist period is to art. Yeah, not a big seller probably, but if you like artsy fartsy stuff, watch it. I'm assuming you've got nothing to add to that, because I imagine
No.
yeah.
Not really.
Nope.
I was going to say, like, when is it from?
Oh yeah, early 80s. Yeah, really strange imagery. It's like watching a surrealist painting. He just sees this thing come out of the town. I say it's one that if you really submerge yourself into it, you see a lot of weird imagery and you're really paying attention. You see a lot of strange stuff, a lot of symbolism, and you're just kind of left wondering about this universe in which you've peeked into, and that's what fascinates me about it. Citizen Kane, that kind of thing, where people can talk throngs of information about Citizen Kane. Oh, it's so moving. What does Rosebud mean? It's that kind of film. But yeah, that's my arty fartsy one. I actually think it's fantastic, but I wouldn't necessarily think any of you would enjoy it. I don't mean to sound me insulting or anything like that. I just think it's one of those ones where you won't find it engaging. The same way that I love Dark Souls, and I find figuring out the lore of Dark Souls really engaging.
No.
But not everybody enjoys doing that. Some people just want a silly game where you run around and fall off things. Yeah, there's my pretentious board. Alright, so Jem or Kim?
Either or, I suppose.
Same
They're very
person,
similar.
same diff.
Just superimpose
Wow.
on top of each other.
Whatever, you're basically the same person as far as I'm concerned with these lists.
We're not the same people.
It's okay, just combine them as well on the bit at the bottom.
Slowly merge them.
Hey!
Anyway, tell me about your Ghiblies.
My two Ghiblies.
Well, I'm going to just go the same order as I did with mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, weird reverso order.
Yeah.
So, me and Ben only watched Castle in the Sky recently when Studio Ghibli put all their stuff up on Netflix.
It was
Yeah.
fucking badass.
It was so good.
It almost beat my Mononoke, but Mononoke just has so much nostalgia for me. Because this is the second Ghibli film I watched, and I'm in love with it as well.
It's so unique. Oh, it's gorgeous. And the robots who tend to all the little birds and stuff in the castle.
How good is the ancient technology in this series? This one, because there's a lot of anime that has ancient technology comes back, kind of thing. But how good is it in this film? Like the robots look ancient, but they're robots.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Mate, when you went out on the roof at like the Ghibli Museum and there was one up there, it was
Yeah.
just like, this is like, I
Yeah.
love this.
It's so cool.
Thing is, I only watched this after we'd been to the Ghibli Museum, so I didn't really know what the robot was.
Yeah.
I went out there and I was like, this looks really cool, but I don't know what it is. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's that!
It's one of the iconic ones because there's a lot of this and Nausicaa are the two kind of ones where they really shaped the style of the studio. The one thing I'll say about Castle in the Sky as a negative, because I only have like one negative about the whole thing, is that I don't think the two main characters are that strong. They
They're
just
supposed
kind
to be
of
your average people, though,
yeah,
aren't
and that's the thing. They haven't really got much going on other than they're kind of love struck, and the boy's like, "I'll help you. Here's some eggs on toast." It's like my favourite scene in the film.
It's what you need, man. It's what you need.
It's my favourite thing in the film when he makes the eggs on toast and like it's really elaborate and it looks amazing.
Oh man, I want eggs on toast now.
It's really thick bread and he like, fries them and puts it on and it's really
That's what it
jiggly.
is in Japan, though. Japan likes their thick slices.
I know, right? It just really stuck in my mind, that scene.
Yeah, Japan does like their thick slice of bread. They're also
Yeah.
like eating cake.
Yeah. And their eggs.
Oh, the eggs.
But yeah, other than that, I think it's a pretty great fantasy. It's also good length as well.
Yeah. It kept me completely engaged all the way through.
Had a good villain. I like the weird pseudo-Nazis.
There was a lot of invading happening.
I did like their pirate gang. The one that started out as kind of foils. And they were a bit Team Rocket-esque, where they were kind of rubbish
that's
and
right.
lovable. I don't...
Was this the one with the crazy train chase in it? With the
Yes,
woman in the
yeah.
car?
The cart race where the pirates are trying to hunt down the girl because they've been hired to hunt down the girl. And or some
It's a
reason.
really long chase where the car is going
Yeah.
on the railway track. It's like, what's happening here?
Yeah. I mean, the ending was a little bit like, just cuz. Oh, it's just gonna crash. The sky's all...
One of those
Screw it.
like, well, we got to end it somewhere, so might as well.
Yeah. It just kind of goes, meh.
Okay.
A basket of fruit.
All right, talk about your fruit baskets, girls. Season 2.
Fruit. No, it's just Fruits Basket, the
Yeah, I know.
latest, the later anime,
The
the new shiny one.
yeah.
The remake.
Well, basically, I love it because it's actually following the manga, unlike the original one did, and so it's going way more into the lore of the
lore.
curse.
The
Yeah.
deep lore.
Fucking horrible. Lord.
Everyone in this show has a bad story.
I only have experience of the first one, and I did think it was tragic. And I know you and Kim always go, "Why aren't you watching it, Carl?" I'm like, I'll watch it when it's over. I watched the original. I'll finish. I'll go back to it when it's over.
There is going to be a season 3.
Yeah.
Oh, all of them have such a sad story, and Toru's so lovable, and oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it's a group of, well, ranging from young children to up to adults with a whole host of mental issues that I'm sure anybody could relate to at least one of these characters.
Especially Cowman.
Oh yeah, the trick is that there's the Soma family. There's 12 of them, well, 14 of them that are always cursed by a soul of a member of the Zodiac.
Yeah. And the cat.
You've got the 12 actual animals, the cat and the god, who are all in this curse, and there's these members of the family, or like one of them has the curse of one specific person.
Yeah, one animal, and then so is it when they embrace somebody they love or something, or is it
If
just
they-
the opposite sex?
Somebody of the opposite gender.
If they hug someone of the opposite gender, or they're highly stressed, then they turn into the animal.
I might be crazy, but was there a thing in this where one of them's gay and they don't actually turn into the animal when they embrace the person they love? But
Is
they-
any of them gay?
I don't know. Maybe I just made that up. That might have just come out of my fanfic or something. I don't know why, but I or one of them dresses like a boy or something, but is actually a
Oh,
girl.
I think you're thinking of the one who's the monkey. He
Just
dresses
remember.
as a girl, but he's actually a boy. But he's not gay.
Oh, okay, that's the thing. It was.
So,
It
so,
was
so basically, what you're saying is read the unusual box fanfic.
fanfic. Yeah, there's a lot more sex. I can tell you that right now. Who cares if they turn into animals?
They have rough animal sex. Jesus.
Oh my god. This is going
Yeah.
down a dark path.
This dojinchi's
Next.
got legs.
Okay, back to the light. Back to the
No,
light.
Kim, you've got to say your take on this.
Fruits
What, the
Basket, at least
fanfic
the
or the
original
show?
anime,
Both.
was was one of the first animes I ever got into and really had an emotional connection with. Because anything I'd seen before that was like your typical adventure where you can just take it for what it is, whereas this is the first anime I could actually like empathize and be in the headspace of the characters, which is why it's also on my list.
Shh, no spoilers.
No, we're not going to talk about spoilers, especially not for the new one because a lot of people.
No, I mean no spoilers about your list.
Oh,
I've already spoiled mine. How dare you?
When I get confirmed that it's finished, I'll probably watch it so I can actually see the conclusion instead of the weird ass conclusion the original got
Yeah, that
with
yeah,
like
that-
werecats and shit.
what the actual ending is. Just trust the actual ending is so much better.
Mind it. I like the male characters more than the female. I don't know why they're all fixated on her. I guess it's because she's accepting and naive.
well, to a lot of the Zodiac members, she's the kind, loving, accepting parental figure they never had.
Yeah. They have a lot of mommy issues, don't they? That's her.
Oh yes.
Oh, oh, jeez. Mummy and
Mum-
daddy issues.
Mummy issues, daddy issues, every other human on earth issues,
Yeah.
Big brother issues.
Pubic issues.
child issues. Speaking of turning into animals,
Yeah.
I
Let's get away from Fruit
I
Basket.
see that there are some people who have turned into animals in your next one.
Yeah. No, Pigmon, Pig Dad. Here's your
Yeah,
other
Spirited
Ghibli
Away.
adventure.
Spirited Away is my favourite Studio Ghibli. Because
Understandable.
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just perfection in a film.
Understandable. It's
I still don't understand No Face at all, but
it's an Alice in Wonderland adventure. No Face is the Jabberwocky of the story. It's basically like a Japanese Alice in Wonderland, and that's what's charming.
Yeah, cool. Everyone is memorable, and so much happens in it, and it's a love story as well. And there's a dragon. I mean,
it's a innocent love story.
that's what
I mean, yeah, it doesn't like go too deep into the romance, but there is an innocent kind of charming childhood affection in that between her and the dragon spirit. Or spoiler spirit. I don't know. I don't want to go through it just in case someone hasn't seen it.
Oh
but,
man, we didn't even talk about the dragon in the last one.
Oh, dragon and fruits basket.
Yeah.
I do think it's a little bit all over the place in terms of like it's an overwhelming film, like visually and story wise. You often don't even know what the hell's happening. And
I could follow it.
I don't know.
I don't feel that.
I don't know. There's just a lot going on all the time, which is really cool because it makes the world feel so busy. I don't know, like it can be kind of overwhelming as far as that going on because there's a lot of like juggling elements as well. Because I think half of the film they just forget about her parents for a little while, and then she just does things to trying to get by.
She's there to try and save her parents. That's the thing. She has to blend in with the world in order for her.
But you get lost in that quite in the middle, and she comes back onto it later on. And she ends up trying to help the dragon boy, and that ends up being a focus for a bit of the film. That's what I mean. There's a lot of elements being juggled. Because the same with No Face. Like, he shows up, and he's important to the story. But really, in retrospect, he's got nothing to do with her end goals. So there's a lot of things going on. And that kind of makes the film, the story richer. Because it's not a simple line. It's very complicated and convoluted. So yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that's an element of it. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it's on a lot of people's bucket lists and like won awards, and it's one of the only few recognised Japanese anime films that mainstream really latched onto.
I think it's well earned.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I thought it was fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah. I was just playing devil's advocate because I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It's a hard one to say negative about. It's quite an art piece. It's not everyone's favourite Ghibli film, but it's usually the one that gets people into Ghibli.
Yeah. I mean, what bad thing is there possible that you could say about it?
It's like I was saying, like the fact that it is a little bit convoluted and hard to follow, considering that when it was released, it was aimed as a kids' film, and it's not.
It's not really a kids' film.
No, it's not, but it was aimed like a Disney demographic, and I think so that can kind of mislead people.
I mean, like I said, I still don't understand what No Face really is.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just thinking that. See, that's the thing. No Face is almost like a wandering spirit, and there's a lot of that going on because there's a lot of spirits and stuff in the background, which are all to do with Japanese folk tales.
Yeah.
And they don't go out their way to explain anything. Very Ghibli-esque, not explaining things. And I say, but if you embrace it like an Alice in Wonderland journey, it has all the negatives and positives of that. Because it's like, not everybody loves Alice in Wonderland, but you can't argue that it's...
Oh, I love Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, you can't argue it's a masterpiece of literature because it's just a whimsical tale. But like, it's also... I say, that's the best comparison I have with Spirited Away because they're so similar. Like, you know, this young girl that gets thrusted into a world and like she has to kind of understand there's lots of weird creatures and stuff, and she kind of has to bend to its own rules. A lot of memorable characters, especially through the Looking Glass and all the people she meets in that one. But yeah, like it's that sort of tale, and I think it's probably a better adaptation into film than Alice has ever gotten. So
Your Name is Beautiful.
This one was a massive rising superstar, wasn't it, when it comes to modern anime films?
Yeah. It got me.
why.
I was in tears when I first saw it.
I really liked the
feels in
review
this
as well.
film.
I think they're going to make a lot of really good films, this company. Yeah, I mean, it's another one where I haven't really got much negative to say. I only saw it the one time, though, so I don't know. I haven't really analysed it or gone through it too deeply.
I've only seen it twice.
That's double the amount of me.
Yeah. But it definitely left an impression on me.
But that's 2 times more than me.
Yeah, Ben hasn't seen it.
Oh, you should. You'd enjoy it.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So this boy and girl, every other day, they without them doing anything, they swap bodies. So he wakes up in her body, and she wakes up in
kinky.
his body. No, not kinky.
And no, this isn't a hentai plot.
Aw.
And they don't know what's going on for a while, but eventually stops when she. I don't really want to give away too much.
No, that's enough. That's enough.
Reaches puberty.
Yeah.
That's enough, to be honest.
Something happens, and he has to save her. Done.
Yeah, so that's enough. Like, it's about these two people who are like swapping identities every now and then, and there's a connection formed between them.
No, it doesn't really explain why they're swapping bodies, does
No,
it?
it's like Weather with You in that sense, where he's like, I just have weather powers, cuz. And it's not important, to be honest. It's not about that. It's about the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yay!
Card captors, a mystic
Now,
adventure.
I'm going to be strict here.
Right.
This is only the Japanese version, not the American.
How
yeah.
dare you.
They spoil it with their damn censorship. Their fox shit
You
sound.
and your version with the crap intro.
You can just edit in the good intro.
Cardcaptor Sakura is the
Yes.
first anime that Kim introduced me to back when I was young and naive. And it's kind of stuck with me because it's so adorable.
Yeah.
That's
And
why I
the
thought you'd love it.
Yeah.
There's so much less gay in the American version.
There's so much gay in the normal version. I mean, Toru and Yukito, for a start, are a glorious couple. And Shaoron, you think he has a crush on Yukito, but he's actually in love with Sakura, and they're my favourite anime couple. So cute.
Shower?
Shaoron.
Oh, Lee, yeah.
Shaoron.
His name is Lee in the
This is
Japanese as
anime
well.
we're
His
talking
family
about.
name is
Yeah,
Lee,
he's
Japanese.
called Lee Shaoron. Yeah.
Lee is his last name.
Yeah, so he's
which is
called
worse,
Lee
yeah.
Shaoron. Then, yeah. It's not like I was wrong, right? Because it's like, say they often in Japanese they often refer to each other by their last names, don't they?
Yeah, but it's one
Yeah.
episode where he calls her Sakura when she's in danger, and she's like, "Oh, can I call you Shaoron?"
Yeah, because that's a
It's
big
like,
thing in Japan. If you call someone by their first name, it's really informal, and it's usually only done between very close people. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so he would be, but
Be Quack Jones.
it's neither here nor there. The story is about cards and capturing them.
Animistic adventure.
Yeah,
A quest for all time.
yeah. The secret of the clow.
Expect the unexpected now.
They're
Card
so
captors,
cool.
I like card
It's
captors.
so cool. I love all the characters and all her cards and stuff.
Guess where I watched card captors for the first time?
On British TV.
Nickelodeon.
Same as me and Martin.
But America drew out all the love from this show. They
Not
drained
true.
it out like a vampire
They-
and ruined it.
They
It's the same
child-fied
people, same kind of
it.
people that don't allow cigarettes and drinking.
Look, they just made it more suitable for a child audience. And to be honest, if you're really into the show, there's no reason you can't just watch the Japanese version afterwards and get more context out of it. It was the early days of anime where censorship was rampant. Sad to be true, but
They also, was it Monica Rial who does Sakura's voice? And I
in
hate
the-
her voice.
In this Tsubasa version, she was.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't think she was in this one. I
She
remember her
was-
voice being particularly cute in this version, in English. She didn't sound like that.
Harry, that's the Monica reality.
But you're always gonna once you voice acting's a different thing. Once you adapt to a certain voice acting cast, you get stuck with it. It's like I find it really hard to go to Japanese Fullmetal Alchemist, but I can respect people who like it.
They call Tomoyo Madison.
Stop
He
raging
takes
about it. Tell me what the story's
Junior.
about. Stop
back
raging
now.
about the westernization of the story. Tell me about the Japanese story.
I feel like that's already kind of been described earlier on when you were talking about.
You mean when we sang the intro?
No, Sakura
and
is
when you were
a
talking about Princess Tutu, man.
Sakura is a
Yeah.
magical girl who has to go around and collect the cloud cards with her wand and Keroberos, who is her little plushy buddy, and she has to go and catch them before they cause havoc on the world.
Yep. It's just like Pokemon. Was there ever an explanation why they were in the house?
Her dad is the reincarnation of Clown.
What? Is that real?
Yes.
Yep. Well, the part reincarnation.
Yeah, his other half went to Ariel
But he
and he got all the magic.
Yeah, so didn't he show up? I'm pretty sure he showed up as a little boy in the series.
Yeah, Ariel is the other half of Klaus' spirit.
I mean, there's a lot of weird elements. I feel like a lot of these are just plot holes that they filled in. But I do think it's one of those charming magical girl shows that wasn't Sailor Moon. I didn't have the bizarreness that Sailor Moon alien rubbish had going on. It was just all magic. Because in Sailor Moon there was lots of like space age shenanigans going on. Yeah, I do think they did good. I haven't watched the new series yet because I watched 2 episodes and I wasn't impressed. But I might come back to it.
I mean, I've watched it all and it was amazing, but they still haven't done the next half yet, and it ended on a cliffhanger.
Maybe I'll give it another go when the next one shows up. But yeah, I do think like the costume changes were really good in that show, which is not many shows had that at the time, and it always fascinated me. Is the fact that they had so many costumes in the show.
Yeah.
You know,
So many cosplays.
I mean, can you imagine the amount of doll sales they had? Talk about cat story.
Cheese Sweet Adventures.
Yay.
Well, but this is a really cute little anime. So the episodes are only like 5 to 7 minutes long, but it's literally about the everyday life of this cute little kitten called Chi, and you see the world through her eyes, and it's so cute. It's just so adorable.
Jem has chi everywhere.
I do have Chi everywhere.
It's the life of a cat, then. The show.
Pretty much, but she's so cute.
And she's in the box.
Is it kind of like My Roommate is a Cat?
It's a bit different. This is a bit more light-hearted, because this cat is still a really young kitten.
Okay.
Also, we don't see it as if they're like speaking our language and stuff.
Well, she does. You do hear what she's thinking.
Yeah, but it's not like you watch one side then you watch the other side.
Oh no, you don't get that. They're very cute little stories, like going next door to visit, like their cat or their rabbit or something, and then her escaping one day. It's just
No, it's like
What
Heart
would you
Wrenching,
say?
like, which is out in like the rain and stuff.
oh, and then she gets lost.
I have no input. It sounds girly and cute.
It's extremely cute.
I believe you.
Look at that face.
Plus side,
She's
I can't say
adorable.
anything negative about it.
Moving
Cool.
on.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
Italia!
This is a gag anime.
It's a funny anime.
Oh, Italy!
It's a gag anime about humanizations of countries. It'd be a lot more violent if we made today.
Sweet face.
I watch this in American because their accents and stuff
It's
is so
much
funny.
better done. So much better.
Hearing Japanese people trying to do accents is quite funny. But I don't even know if they bother doing that.
This is another one that has really short episodes.
It's just a quality gag anime, quite honestly. It's one of those ones where you
Yeah.
can just watch it and you just like go every now and then, and that's a series.
It's bizarre because it's like short episodes, but then in those short episodes, it's even shorter episodes.
Yeah, and if it was released today, people would call it racist.
They really would.
Yeah,
People
they'd be
probably
like,
do
these are
call it.
racist stereotypes, and that's the point of the humor. And sometimes
they
you
are
can just
there
be
to
okay with having that.
Yeah, it's not like they took the piss out of all the other nations and not themselves. They equally take the piss out of Japan.
Yeah,
That's not the
literally,
point.
there's Japan right there.
It's racist to themselves as well.
Japan, the sulky little man.
No,
He
it's
likes to hide away in his house.
it's the same kind of wit in the sense that Blackadder had making fun of countries and stuff, and it's them just they like if a country's a bit more serious by its nature, like stereotype, the character's more serious, and it does a good job with that. And I think it's fun, and it's a turn off your brain just laugh at it.
I mean,
kind of show.
what's also quite amusing is the one country they do not put in this is North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason.
Yeah. The one country they're scared to
Don't
put
want to
in
start
this
any
anime.
fights. I mean, if it was made today, the only country in there would be Japan. Nah, Japan don't care. Japan don't care. They have to
I
make
mean-
fun of who?
They're still making it today, so...
Well, I mean, you wouldn't get a dub of it, is what I'm talking about. Because you'd still get it over in Japan, and it would still be a good laugh over there, because they don't care, because they're civilized human beings that know how to take a joke. But, like, you wouldn't get a dubbing of it nowadays, which is where the good fun comes from, the silly dubbing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty sure it's only like the first 3 seasons that got like a UK release. They released it a bit longer in America than like
Yeah, it's just silly fun. It's silly fun making fun of stereotypes, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just a gag. It's fun.
See, my favourite character was Britain, because obviously we are British.
No,
ship
Germany, man. Germany was adorable. Germany was adorable. It was so serious.
Oh man, cheap Italia was the best. Cheap Italia.
Let's move along to the gloriousness.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about this gay anime.
Gay on ice.
You mean yaoi on ice?
So we're talking about homosexual skating.
It.
Homosexuals who skate. That's the storyline, right?
It's never actually properly said that they are gay, but it's
Except in the title.
Yuri on Ice. That's his name.
Yeah.
It's
obviously a play on words. Go away.
If that was the case, surely it'd be yaoi on ice.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's obviously a play on words. I mean,
Yuri...
they make out, don't they?
They don't make out, no.
Yes, they do. Doesn't he jump on him and make out of him?
He jumps on him and gives him a peck, which loads of girls love, including me. But
they're so gay. Shut up. You'll ship SpongeBob and Thingy, but you won't ship these guys.
I do ship Victor and Yuri, but
real
I'm just
gay.
saying it's never actually said they are officially.
They just have pecs on ice and embrace each other and hold each other affectionately throughout the series and give each other googly eyes.
I mean, I agree. It's never explicitly stated, but it is heavily implied.
Because, like...
I mean, to be fair, though, you watch, like, Strictly Come Dancing and they're doing that to each other, and they're, like...
No, there's so many sexual tension scenes in Yuri on Ice. It's a romance, like, with sports spliced in there. Like, yeah, it's like saying, oh, in Fullmetal Alchemist, Renry and Edward don't ever, they're not a thing. It's like...
When I first watched it, I mean, I originally thought it was going to be some sort of hentai. But,
no, it's not that far, don't get me wrong.
It kind of got given away to me, because in the first episode, you see Victor in a hot tub, and he stands up and he's got no nipples. And that is the one way
anime.
I know it's not a porn, is because
they all look like Ken dolls.
State penetration.
Yeah. Well, it was never going to be that. It was not an ecchi show. It's a feel-good, like... There's so much gay tension in it. But to be fair...
it's so beautiful!
To be fair, like, that's not... the romance is a part of the show, because there's definitely, like, sexual tension between each of the characters. But it is about the sports competition. So it's effectively a sports show, but it's really flamboyant and shonen as fuck. Not shonen, shonen. What's the girl one? Shonen. Shoujo. Thank you, Ben. It's shoujo as fuck. So, it's pretty boys doing a pretty sport and flexing a lot, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Victor is glorious.
Yeah. I think my only take from it, because I went into it expecting it to be much more kind of like going in there with the gay romance, but then it didn't. And I guess that's why I was like, it's a decent sport anime with a bit of gay undertone. Expressive gay undertone. But, like, it never really hit me hard. But what was it about it that you loved to make it appear on here?
It was the strong relationship between Victor and Yuri, because Yuri's going through a really bad patch where he doesn't believe in himself and he feels like he's failing everything he does. But Victor's there to guide him and be his coach, and he really helps him out. It's just...
Do you watch a lot of sports anime?
Nope.
Say that. That's probably the thing. That's why it didn't hit me that hard, because I've seen a lot of sports anime, and I feel like I've seen it done better because I haven't got any sports anime on my one, but if I was going to pick a few, I definitely have things on there that have got that sort of charm with characters helping each other through competitions and stuff. So I do get what you're talking about. I don't know, it just didn't hit me that hard. But you know, a lot of the sports animes I watch don't have pretty boys in it. So, and
yeah, that's the win for me. Is they have to have pretty boys.
And God, some of the scenes in there could be a porn. Like some of the stuff that they do is so fucking hot. Like with all the stretching and flexing and stuff in the skin tight suits, like it is quite crazy. Like as eye candy goes. All right, Tokyo meow 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 meow
Tokyo
power.
Mew Mew. Tokyo Mew is another magical girl thing. It's very similar to Sailor Moon in a way. This one, but I actually watched this first.
Yeah, this show has more doujinshi than this show. This is one where I was like, no, this is too girly for Carl. No,
it is
little boy.
Very girly anime.
I'll watch Cardcaptor Sakura, but I won't watch this. I don't think I'm ever going to pick this up.
No, it's incredibly girly. I don't think you'd really like it. In it, these 5 girls have 5 endangered animal spirits inside them, and they have to defeat the aliens who are here to destroy the world. And
As you do.
Yes.
How veilous Sailor Moon of you.
Her boyfriend Ayuma is incredibly boring, but he turns out to actually be the big bad guy, and yeah, it's just
a really old anime.
It's a very
Oh
old
no,
anime.
Sailor Moon. Tuxedo Mask was her friend all along. But yeah, it's magical girl as fuck, right?
Oh yeah, very magical girl.
Oh yeah.
And one of my favourite characters came out of this, and that's Kishu. He's one of the aliens. I was a massive fangirl of him. Mainly because his midriff was showing off, and you could see those 2 lines that lead down to something better.
The thirst.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I was doodling on the page because I was trying to understand what was going on with her arms. Because
It's outstretched in front of her, isn't it?
Yeah, but her other arm is like, you can see her elbow here. I'm guessing like the perspective's really weird to me. And I'm just thinking, if this arm folded and that cufflink's supposed to be at the top of her arm and her shoulders here, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. But that's a kind of the era of anime. I mean, I'm not going to say any of my ones didn't have bad anatomy. But I was just this one picture kind of threw me off. What is this she's holding? This bell? Is that her weapon? What does it do?
Is it sucks out the what they call Kim? Is it Kuroma?
Yeah.
Aliens or something.
Are you sure this isn't a hentai?
There's these they possess random things like trees and stuff, and that weapon sucks them out. It's difficult to explain, but
I mean, magical cool pots often are, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you saw me trying to explain mine.
I'm going to point this at the enemy, and everything's going to be solved weapon.
Yes. I mean, I know of this thing's existence, and I see figures and stuff of it, and I'm sure it has a massive following, but I'm never going to touch it with a barge pole. But it sounds charming.
I never ever watched the dub of it. It's fucking awful.
I mean, I watched Sailor Moon. I watched Sailor Moon, but this one's a bit more of too much of a step for me. But yeah, I'm guessing it's a Sailor Moon version, but with a catty theme.
It's more of an animal theme than a sailor theme.
I know for a fact Ben's waiting to put his input in. Go on, Ben. Tell me what you think about the show.
No.
Nah, magical girl show. Da 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 da. It's cute and has cats in. I can see why you love it.
Yes, that is me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Now on to part 2 of female weeaboo.
Thanks.
Guess what? There's a lot of the same.
Shut up.
Go on, talk about your gay harem. Well, it's not gay, technically speaking. It's just kind of gay. I like Host Club.
It is kind of gay. Orin High School Host Club is just a really funny, fairly charming, harmless anime. It does have darker themes
Yeah, I was gonna say.
underneath the surface. But I actually really like the dub of this. I think all the voice actors really put their all and put real character into the characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw it once when it was all the craze, but it just never stuck with me. I liked the theming of it because obviously it's about a cross-dresser that joins the club, isn't it?
On her first day at this like prestigious, like noble high school, she knocks over this very expensive vase. In a way to pay back her debt, she joins the host club and pretends to be a boy.
And then romance ensues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And bishy boys, romance, one girl, heaven forbid.
Yeah. You know how this goes. You know how this song and dance goes.
I've read this doujinshi before. I mean,
The twins are my favourite.
they've got
Yeah, it's just a nice anime to put on in the background just because it's.
they've got fun personalities, haven't they?
Mm.
It's called Captain Sakura. Do you have something to add to this?
Yeah.
From our last
We've,
discussion.
Yeah. We've kind of already covered the basis of this already, but it was, I think, the first magical girl one I ever got into, so that's why it's got a whole lot of nostalgia for me.
What's your favourite thing about it?
I mean, Clamp's animation. I don't know, the picture we've got here is obviously the first series where the animation is a little bit more dated.
Yeah.
But the newer series animation is like fantastic. Well, like all of Clamp's stuff generally is exceptionally pretty.
You mean the art style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have a critical thing of saying I don't think the animation's any better in the new season. It just has a better art style because it's more clean.
Yeah. Sorry, that's why I meant art style rather than animation.
I know what you mean, but it's more clampish in the newer one.
I was first introduced to it through the English dub.
Captors.
Yeah, so I do have a soft
Blasphemy.
spot for that anime theme.
Oh look, it's Fruit Basket.
Yeah, another one. So I think
Fancy
that's more or
meeting you
less
here.
covered my-
What's your favourite thing about this one?
Well, my original picture did have like the first and second series, just to emphasise
Yeah.
that I do like and appreciate both versions, even if the new version is obviously more faithful to the manga.
I think they did a good job with the original, quite honestly. I did think it needed a remake because the first one was never going to get finished, and it didn't follow smoothly into the second season, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
But,
totally
yeah.
understand why they redid it.
yeah, animals and cute boys. What else could you want?
Well, more the animals than cute boys, but
If you say so. More Clamp.
more Clamp. Tsubasa was something like me, Gem, and our little friend group were really into on the con scene. Again, very pretty artwork, and it did introduce us to two original characters to this series, which is Fi and Kurogane, that you can see in the background there.
Yeah. Which they're kind of, it's weird because they're virtually the same characters as the characters in Captain Sakura. I know there was a lot of talk about that. I don't know.
But it's very complicated.
Yeah, there's some kind
Yeah.
of weird meta narrative going on between the books about how like they cross over in some weird way. The Clamp fictional
Yeah,
universe.
I couldn't even begin to explain to you the
Yeah.
story of
And then
the
at
thing.
some point you see
Tsubasa.
you see Chi walking around in the desert. I don't know.
But the series starts with this world's version of Sakura losing her memories and then being scattered to different dimensions, which are the other Clamp universes. And it's a hunt to go track down her memories. After that, it gets really complicated.
Yeah. It's also like one of the first isekai I knew of, but because it had an entry level to actually appreciating the series, I know a lot of people dropped off. Yeah, it's the Spider-Verse of the Clamp universe.
Okay, so yeah, now that you mention it.
It was really pretty while it lasted, but I started to lose interest when it started to mess things up a bit.
Yeah, it got quite convoluted, but if you stuck with it, I bet it would be very fulfilling.
Yeah, I had the manga of this, like Fruits Basket, and I enjoyed reading those.
Dr. Stone is the one that I was like, oh, really? When I was looking at your list.
I must admit, this choice was mostly just for one particular episode,
Oh yeah.
which is where they find. I don't know if it's a spoiler to talk about it.
Just
'cause
do it.
it's
Who cares?
quite-
If you're this deep into the podcast, you've committed to the spoilers of everything we're talking about.
It's the episode where he finds that last recording of his, I don't know if it's father or adoptive
yeah,
father.
His dad.
Yeah, and just the emotion of that whole scene and finding where he was finally buried, and I was just like, oh my god, I was in floods of tears by the end.
And the legacy he left him as well, because that's the whole point, is that he left him with hope for the future, because he just knew that.
Yeah, it's so much faith and respect for him, knowing that he'll make his way through even without him.
Yeah,
I was just like,
exactly.
oh my god!
You're gonna like the season 2's not far off. You're gonna like it. That's why we were talking earlier, and we were saying, well, maybe we'll talk about the winter season next year, because everything's getting its next season, and it's gonna be a really hot winter season of anime. But yeah, like Dr. Stone, I don't know if I'd necessarily put it anywhere high, but I really did like Dr. Stone a lot. I know some people thought it was, not real science and stuff in it, and it put them off, but it was close enough to real science for me that I found it really entertaining. It was that nice middle ground. There's also a lot of silly shenanigans that go on in it. How he's not actually Sengu, yeah. Sengu's not really a nice personality character, but he's a good guy, and I don't know, there's something charming about that.
Yeah, he might not be the most, I don't know, open and warm person, but he does genuinely care about his friends.
He's how I imagine a scientist would be if he knew he was just smarter than everyone around him, but appreciated people. It's a fine line.
He's aware of his own limit.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys have any input on Dr. Stone that you want to talk about? I mean, we obviously know what it's about.
I've never seen it.
You haven't? Oh, maybe give them a brief rundown of the plot then, maybe, and then we'll move on.
Well, modern day Japan, you see him and his friends at school, and then they start finding stone birds everywhere, and they were like, oh, this is weird. And then the next day, a beam of light goes across the world, turning every living creature into stone.
It's not every living creature. It's only humans. It's every human, and that one species of bird.
Yeah. So the theory is that, well, as of this
don't talk
moment,
about the theories, but that's the plot. Like, everyone was turned to stone, and then how many years? 4,000 years pass, and literally everything in society has crumbled to ruin, and you're back in the Stone Age. And then these people start waking up, and it's kind of like an isekai explained through science. So they all just wake up, and suddenly they're in the Stone Age, and he's basically the last surviving real scientist who's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to science, to try and bring Earth back from the Stone Age into modern age.
Yeah, it's almost refreshing to have like a super competent main character rather than your average Joe Schmo that wakes up and goes, what?
Do you know what? It's like an anime of the main character is Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of. He's like Dexter. Like, he's got that same kind of like crude mentality about him. So yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, you're right. It's
or Mandark
Dexter
or something.
and an isekai.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my word.
I was gonna sing a theme tune, but I can't remember it.
Okay, slowly scrolling over.
Full naked alchemist.
I know my original picture was this, but I did watch and appreciate both versions, like the original series and Brotherhood. But Brotherhood is my favourite of the two.
Yeah, it's a legacy anime, isn't it? It's the one that I like. My anime list can't stop jerking off.
I know it's a bit of a meme, but I really do love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
It's good.
It is my favourite anime.
It's high tier. It's one of the. It's like you'd be hard pressed to say many negatives about Full Metal Alchemist. It's got good start finish. It's got good main characters, good progression, a really cool power system, really cool world that's kind of loosely based off, like Germany in the Second World War, and it has connotations with that. It's got cool stuff like human ethics about what's okay and not okay to do when you've got power and stuff like that. It's good. And there's some weird pseudo magic in it as well, and science and alchemy in the most loose sense of it.
I saw all the original series, and I tried to watch this one, and I just couldn't carry on. I just got a bit bored of it.
I'm surprised. I think it's a quite engaging show.
Well, the only thing I take from this is how tragic Nina is.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of tragedy in the show, and it keeps sucker punching you with it. I like the original quite a lot, but I think the best part about the original is the homunculi and how they play them. and I do think it starts better the original because it trips over itself a little bit in the new season, like for that.
Yeah.
But I do think the new season overall better because it's better structured. That's the only really reason. And
it follows and completes the manga.
Yeah, the
Well,
homunculi make more
yeah.
sense within the narrative. They were a little bit bish-boshy in the other one, but I did like their individual stories in the original. Ben, have you seen Fullmetal Alchemist? Both of them?
I've watched the original one. I started trying to watch Brotherhood, and then I just couldn't really get on with it because I just felt like I kind of already watched it before.
I can understand that because if you've watched the original, you kind of feel attached to it as well, and then they start changing things, and you're like, oh, especially since it was so big when we were growing up. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always talked about the original series when we were growing up, and that was the one. And then they remake it, and for all intents and purposes, it is better and more modernized. But you've seen the original. It's the same thing that happened with Fruit Basket.
I mean, I watched the original Fruit Basket.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't feel as engaged again with the remade one.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of happened with me with Card Capture School and Fruit Basket. But Card Capture School is obviously a new series, but it's that thing of coming back to it after you feel like it's already done. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the whole thing has a lot of heart, and again, by the end of the series, I was bawling my eyes out.
Maze.
Oh no!
Let's not talk about Hughes, Maze, and the really tragic moment. The thing is, there's tragic moments that happen after that as well. All right, and then you've got Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you want to add about Yuri on Ice, or can we move on?
Yeah, I think it's just very warm, charming anime. I mean, I can appreciate how it's not to everybody's taste because it does look very girly and flamboyant from the outside. But again, I liked the developing relationship between Yuri and Victor. It was very sweet. Yurio was very funny, just mostly for his memeable facial expression.
All right, and then Yona of the Dawn. This one I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't think much of Yona of the Dawn.
Certainly not like the most epic, amazing thing out there, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Very pretty art style. I got engaged with the characters quite quickly because obviously most of the time I'm willing to be like, okay, I'll take a few episodes to warm up to these characters, but Haku in particular, I warmed up to him very quickly.
They did have a budding romance that was interesting. The fact that he was the tsundere of the relationship, and she was kind of the noble trying to get better, and she does have a kind of neat arc. But I don't know, like a lot of people, I know a lot of people talk quite nicely about the series, but I just watched it and I was like, I'm done, and I moved on.
Fair enough.
It's a feud of Japan story, isn't it? About basically a princess who's going on a journey to find the dragons. Ish, is that right?
To find the 4 dragons.
Yeah.
Who are obviously reincarnated as people at this point.
Yeah.
They're not they're not dragons.
Yeah.
I felt like I could empathise and see myself in her position of, what was that? I was like nice, well-meaning girl that had been brought up in a very sheltered life and then suddenly had to be thrust into pretty horrible situations, and her sort of realisation of, oh god, I'm basically still just a child compared to the rest of the world, and how she learns and copes and grows through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a coming of age story with the stereotypical hero's story as well stuck in there. So, I think that's what it is. I mean, I'm guessing no one else has seen Yoni of the Dawn.
No,
I've never even heard of it before.
It's like I was a bit shocked because it is kind of obscure. I only saw it because it just happened to go by me once and under my recommendations, and I just happened to watch it. It was really just a passing show that I watched at the time, so I was shocked to see it on the list.
It got me into Yona and the Dawn.
Yeah. Black Blatala. Booans.
So I was quite intentional with this one. While I have seen every version of Black Butler, I particularly enjoyed Book of Circus.
It's the best one.
That's not granted.
Best one.
Yeah, it's got the best art style and most current art style. So obviously it's a bit unfair to compare it to the much earlier version.
It's the only one.
It's got just a nice little concise story.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it does expect you to know the source material and the other series, or at least the original series, going in, or be familiar with the manga. But I think for the most part, you could probably take it for what it is.
I'm glad you picked this one because it's the only one I can stand.
How dare you?
I don't care for Black Butler all that much. I liked the circus one. I liked all the circus characters. I liked the whole drama that was going on in Circus House. I liked the idea that they all had disformities that the person who ran it like helped them out with, and I didn't quite understand how they fit into the overall plot because they just kind of happened along with the main characters in a weird way, and he's like investigating them or something. But I don't really like Black Butler. I don't like the main characters, and I don't really get this pedophilic relationship they've got going on.
I can understand Black Butler not being to everybody's taste.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for me.
It's not sexual, man.
Oh yeah, sure.
No, despite what the Dodentries tell you, like Sebastian
Despite all
definitely doesn't
the
want to have sex.
contracted to be
Which-
together
Sebastian
forever.
wants to eat him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sebastian wants to eat his soul.
Yeah, definitely nothing sexual about that. Nothing predatorial and
I mean,
weirdly.
it's predatorial. He wants his soul.
Yeah,
That's why he's obeying
Yeah.
everything he does, so eventually he can eat Shield's
Yeah.
soul.
yeah.
I don't think you're helping the case here, guys.
I just
I mean,
want to
I feel-
consume this little boy. What are you talking
I
about?
I feel like there's a very different thing between eating someone's soul and having sex.
There's a sexual connotation to it. There definitely is. There's a lot of stroking and like intimacy between the two characters, and I mean, it's like saying there's nothing sexual about a vampire wanting to drink someone's blood. You can say that. I don't believe you, but you can say that.
I mean, I feel like a lot of things you may have seen may have that, but like all the vampires, like I know, it's not
That makes no sense to me.
because all the vampires I know, it's not just drinking their blood; they just like rip them apart and then just consume the blood afterwards.
That's not
Yeah,
really
it
it.
depends
That's
on
more
what
of a
version
zombie.
of the vampire you're watching. Because obviously
Yeah.
there's the romanticised version, and then there's the bloodthirsty monster
I mean,
version.
there's
like,
the original version from Grand Circus Dracula, or there's the Hollywood version. That's how I would say it.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fair enough. But it, there was always a sexual connotation to it in the original. It's beside the point. What I'm saying is that there's an intimacy between these two characters, and I don't really get the intimacy. I know they're like contracted together, but it's not like, for example, it's kind of like a watered down version of what Helsing had. Do you know what I mean? With Alucard and
Yeah.
Helsing in a lot of ways, and I liked the relationship between Helsing and Alucard. But like in this one, I didn't get it. But like I say, it's not for me. I shouldn't really keep going on and narking on it so hard. Like I say, there's definitely an audience for it. I knew a lot of people that were obsessed about the series when it came out, which may have given me a bad taste about it. So
Yeah, no, fair enough. I can understand why the fandom would put people off.
Jin is awesome, and Alois and Claude are an abomination and shouldn't have been created.
No, we don't talk about the second season.
but why?
My input is I like the second season, and this annoys me because it doesn't have Grelin.
So we're on Ben's list. What we got? So let's start in the same stupid order.
Eagles.
Attack on Titan, I
I
think
love Attack on Titan, even if it's just for the music, which it's not, but the music is the best.
the score in Attack on Titan is so good. Like, it's ridiculous.
I don't think there's a single intro that I haven't enjoyed on Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I mean, some are better than others, but that's not saying much when you're hitting an A every time.
I was gonna say it's Linked Horizon, isn't it? That do most of them.
Yes, it is.
Oh man, that's so good.
I think it gets thrown around sometimes with people, but Attack on Titan is a modern classic.
Just the storyline is so brutal.
Yeah, it is, and it's effectively kind of that gel between a natural disaster, a zombie, but it's also kind of like militaristic because it's got obviously medieval period, and then they start throwing in more stuff. We're obviously about to hit the new season this year coming,
which is going to go even crazier.
Yeah,
nothing like the previous ones.
It's the final, isn't it?
It's the final season, yeah.
Yeah,
so a lot of people are going to like look at this season and then not know what to think because it's not like the others.
I don't know how they must have 2 parts in it, surely, because I don't know how they're going to cover all the stuff. Because I don't really watch it, but I know.
I think it's 48 episodes.
Yeah, because I know there's a time skip. So that's what I know, and you've got a lot to explain when you do a time skip.
The time skip is going to be right at the start.
Yeah, but you have to explain stuff, don't you, when you have a time skip? And then there's
loads of new characters as well.
I don't know too much. I just know it becomes kind of a political drama kind of thing.
They had to add new characters because nearly all of them were dead.
Yeah, everyone kept dying. That's one thing about it. It's one of those shows that was not scared to kill off its cast, which is like
there was like 3 people with plot armor, and everyone else was just like, ah.
Yeah, very Code Geass of them, really, because that's another thing I liked about Code Geass in its kind of like operatics that it goes through. They do just kill off characters when it's appropriate to the story, and the shot kills in that are really, really heavy.
I loved Erwin so much, and that's also why I hate Armin so much.
Yeah, I can get it.
Armin, it wouldn't be so bad. Like I wouldn't mind Armin so much if he
wasn't such a pussy.
Well,
yeah,
it's true. Yeah, if he hadn't like effectively caused the death of Erwin.
I keep thinking, oh well, he's always going to have a moment to shine, but I just don't know if he will at this point. Because I really like the princess Historia. I really liked Historia, and I really liked her friend. I'm terrible with names.
There's a lot of weird stuff with Historia coming up.
Yeah, I mean, what was the girl that was with Historia? That was
Ymir.
I really liked their relationship. I say I like a lot of the goings on and the politics.
You're going to be very disappointed.
What?
You're going to be very disappointed with anything to do with Ymir.
Well, Ymir, I'm assuming he's gone now because that was the feeling I was getting at the end of the last season. So I really like the journey Jaeger's gone down, even though he's quite frustrating at times. I really like it. Levi is obviously just a badass.
I love Levi.
He's a badass.
I feel like Aaron's got like it's quite a human response to being put under such crazy pressure.
It's true.
It's almost like he's broken. Whereas Levi was always a badass.
Aaron's got real responses to stuff. Having been
Levi was a born badass.
Yeah, and it's genetic, I think. Yeah. Dev was a part-timer.
I loved Dev as part-timer. It was like one of the funniest things I've watched in God knows how long.
If I didn't have such big hitters on my list, man, Devil Top 5 would be on there. You introduced me to this, so...
It's one of the only ones where I literally own the DVDs because I love it that much.
Yeah. And yeah, I watched this because you were like, you should check this out, and then you showed me the first episode and we just blitzed the series.
Yeah, we watched it all at once.
Yeah. And I was like, this series is amazing.
And it's really weird for me to show you anime.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then it happens. It's rare, but it happens. I'm too busy watching everything and consuming everything. When's the next season? God damn it.
I was going to say, I really wish... I mean, it only covers the first 2 books, and there's loads of books. I mean, we said this about Log Horizon as well, but that's finally coming.
Yeah, but I didn't care as much about Log Horizons. I feel like Log Horizon started out really strong, and it as time went on.
Second season was a bit mediocre.
Yeah. Next one might be great. I think it was when they started expanding the world. I was a bit like, okay. There was some weird stuff that happened. Anyway, yeah, there was part-timer. God, reverse isekai at its best.
There were some epic characters, and I just love the whole idea of them being super powerful. Coming to this world, losing all their powers.
Yeah, the Demon Lord is isekai'd into normal world.
It's like, I'm a
joins
demon
McDonald's.
Lord, I still need money. I'm gonna have to work in this burger.
It's so good, and it's actually, I feel like this is a good gateway anime. I feel that you can get people into anime watching this because it's a silly premise that you can relate to because it is just him doing a part-time job.
And I love Trigun.
Yeah, Trigun, you said you're gonna have it. It's your Outlaw Star.
Trigun was the second or third anime I think I ever watched. I think the first one was Hellsing, apart from obviously your kind of Card Captors TV bits and stuff. But... Yeah,
it got a fair shout, didn't it, when it came to the anime adaptation? Not everything got a good go around with it, and space westerns were the thing at the time.
Oh man, Basher Stampede just has some of the best character design and even though the animations are a little bit janky at the time, it just looked beautiful.
It had its moments, man. Like some of the animations, like when his arm transformation and his end fights and stuff, were really good. And there's traumatic stuff that goes on in that series.
There's a lot of emotional pain.
Yeah, Planet Gunsmoke is like one of those places that you think you know what you're watching, and as the series goes on, you realize how wrong you were. That's the interesting thing about it. Like,
and Wolfwood as well was that hurt me.
The one that hurt me was Elgato.
I'm just trying to think which one. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
From the Gun Ho Guns, the guy that basically forces him to kill. He's so diabolical. It's crazy. Like the stuff he did, and he forced him to like break his morals, which is it's tragic.
But yeah, stylistically it's really cool. But like I say, it's your classic futuristic western.
I think Vash is one of these characters you think is going to be shallow, but he's not. He's really deep. It's really interesting.
His backstory as well. Obviously, like the fact that he just causes these disasters, and that's why he's the. I can't remember how he double dollars his thing is.
I can't remember, but yeah, he's the human. He gets designated a human disaster, doesn't he?
Yeah, because that's what the girls are following, isn't it? Because they're the insurance agency.
Yeah. And
which
the
I thought
fact,
was hilarious.
yeah, which is the fact that they get to the point where they're using insurance agency, and it is like the Wild West, but with weird future tech just lying around, and it's a good genre. I like it a lot.
Yeah, because clearly they all came from another planet originally, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't clear at the beginning. This is what I'm saying. You go across it, and you think you're just watching a Western, and then stuff starts happening when you realise this isn't a Western, is it? This is a sci-fi. Like, and that's the thing for me, that it was very subtle about becoming a sci-fi, because they'd slowly introduce tech and stuff. Like, there's like that guy that's like a mutant robot at the beginning, and I was like,
It was also one of those classic ones that had all the crazy dysmorphic characters, which was quite popular at the time.
Yeah. Again, a little bit overshadowed by Cowboy Bebop, wasn't it? So,
yeah, I mean, like Cowboy Bebop, I think was on my reserve list.
It's good, but I think everyone's got their own. Do you know what I mean? Out of the stuff that came out at the time, I think it gets a lot of notoriety because Cowboy Bebop became so mainstream.
Yeah, that was obviously mainly because I watched that rather.
Yeah. Gundam Wing, is it?
Man, I love Gundam Wing.
I don't know if it's my favourite Gundam or not. I really like Gundam Wing. It's obviously what it aired.
It's the only Gundam I've watched.
Yeah, it aired when on TV, which is what gave it the kick up from other Gundams.
That's what got me into it, and that's why it's nostalgic for me.
I didn't get along with the characters all that well. I felt some of the characters were a bit janky. I might have been the dub that did that.
See, I liked all of the pilots.
Even that, even Hero, I never really got it. I honestly think maybe I watched it too young.
See, I can't think of his name right now. But it's the one with like Desert Clan, the one that had Sandrock.
It's not Catra, is it?
No, I can't remember his name right now. But it's the one that the pilot of Sandrock.
The sassy guy.
Was
the fringe guy.
the one with short blonde hair, and
he had blonde hair.
He was always whitey blonde. He was always hanging around with the nomads.
Oh yeah, he's Catra.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, no, he literally.
Yeah, it's the other characters I don't remember. The sassy guy. Yeah.
And Wu Fei also, I didn't really feel like it connected very well. I wasn't really sure of his motivation. Wu Fei was the one that they tried to make look really Chinese.
Yeah. I remember him having like a giant emo fringe.
I know that was that Troa?
Oh yeah, might have been, yeah. Oh no, yeah. I'm just forgetting the one that they were trying to make look really Eastern. Yeah. I mean, I think Gundam.
When he had the Gundam with the arms that turned into dragons.
Yeah, I think Gundam as a series, I think everyone's got their flavour they like. And you kind of fall in love with one or the other. I think I watched Gundam Wing too young, and so when I came back to it, I was a bit cynical about it. I might have to give it another go.
I think one of my favourite characters wasn't even like one of the good guys. It was totally Zex.
I mean, Zex was the coolest character in the series by far. I hated the princess girl.
Plus, his Gundam was just like badass.
Well, Zex
I
went
had,
for a
like,
few, didn't he?
Now when he got Epion,
Oh yeah.
I totally had myself like an actual like Gundam kit of Epion because it was
Epion
just cool.
sick.
That and Heavy Arms, like the
Oh
custom
yeah.
film, were like my two favourite. And I remember, like I say, buying these kits down in like when I was on holiday in Toy Master. I'm definitely including the film with this as well. The film just made it better.
Yeah, the whole series. I mean, if we're not including films,
just like my next one,
yeah,
film.
if we're not including films, Evangelion is a very different series.
See, we say this, but I really liked the last two episodes. I know they were like done without new footage because they virtually ran out of money, but I felt like the actual story they were telling in those last two episodes was almost more interesting than the film, whereas the film was just really cool.
I don't know. I feel like you had too many characters where they were just like didn't get conclusions. Obviously, Evangelion's a milestone of anime, and I don't think there's any point to have to explain it. I like Evangelion. A lot of people think it's overrated. A lot of people think it's underrated. A lot of people analogy it up the Husad. A lot of people think Christian symbolism, which I don't think Christian symbolism was very important in Evangelion.
I think it has some quite prominent symbolism. I don't think it was all necessarily intended to be such.
Yeah, I think it was there to be cool, though. I think the real pull of Evangelion is how so down to earth it was for the premise it had. Like, obviously you're giant robots and stuff, but it was like a realistic take on it in a weird way. And I don't think any anime really did that before then.
I feel like it almost had a slight kind of like slice of life, like backbone with the pilots as well.
That mixed with Godzilla, because the fights were very Godzilla. They weren't like Gundam Wing fights.
It was almost like watching two kind of sub series within the same series.
Yeah, it was
between like the actual like the human characters and the Avas.
So with Evangelion, I started out when I first watched it, and I was 12. I watched it on the Sci-Fi Channel. I hated the series. I hated it a lot. I was like, I don't understand these feelings. And I got really angry at it.
I don't actually remember how I got into it. I think it might have been like one of the guys at school lent me like a VHS of it.
But yeah, I remember detesting it when I first watched it. And then I gave it another chance when I was a bit more mature, and I realised how this was not meant for anyone with a mental age really much younger than 12. Like, I think it blew my brain a bit.
I also remember, nostalgia-wise as well, like when I was younger, buying the coolest statue ever of the first angel from it. I think it's Sachiel. So much so that when I say when I was about 60 or so, I actually I got rid of most of my stuff, and then like later on I missed it so much that I went out and bought another one, even though it was now super collector's level costing.
There's like studies done on Evangelion, for God's sake. Like, I remember when I was studying animation, there was books about Evangelion. Like, there's things talking like how like Evangelion used this thing called the power of silence, and lots of like essays written about that. And I remember there being scenes in Evangelion where they weren't scared to just have characters do nothing for like a solid 10 seconds.
It's like Shinji scenes all the time of him on the train just listening to his tape recorder.
Which, saving budget. And I'm like, yeah, but it's also, it makes you feel
really
tense.
Like, dug you into his character.
I still think one of the best scenes ever done in the show was that lift scene with Oscar and Rei, where they just sit in the lift for a good like 30 seconds. And then Rei says, "Are you even trying?" And then she just explodes on Rei. I mean, it was just an intense scene, and it was just like I don't think you could have done that if you had made it faster.
It's like also the scenes as well with the big kind of like escalators shooting up. You just watch them move up the escalator without saying anything.
My Hero Academia.
My God, I love My Hero Academia.
This is the one where I'm like, I like a lot of shonen.
Now.
Yeah, I like a lot of shonens. What do you like over other shonens for this one?
I just feel like I like the premise more. Then it's there. I know obviously it's not kind of like in Naruto you have their kind of ninja powers, isn't it? And then in Bleach you've got spiritual powers. In this it feels almost like
it's more integrated into society.
I know it sounds weird because they're not exactly natural, but it almost feels more natural, their powers.
No, I think you're absolutely right. You know from me about this series that I think the most interesting thing about My Hero Academia is the sociology of it and how the people being weird mutants, basically. It's X-Men, but they're not hated by society.
Yeah, I just like the fact at some point, like, they were going along like normal, and then all of a sudden, all these powers burst out of people.
And then they were mature about it and just integrated it into society. It's neat for that, yeah. But, I don't know, story arc-wise, it's a little bit weak at the moment. It's at the beginning. I mean, more stuff for me might go on, because that's what I look at. But
I mean, I'm a series behind, so...
Yeah, but... Deku gets the best stuff in the first series, honestly, for me.
But that obviously that's not because I don't want to watch it. That's just because life has got to go on.
I don't know if I would put it above Naruto. I don't know if I'd put it above Bleach because I'm actually a Bleach defender.
I hate Bleach. I thought Bleach was terrible. We're not going to get into that one.
Yeah,
but,
I'm a defender for it. But,
Naruto was good. I really enjoyed the first series. Shippuden kind of just felt like it dragged on a bit. Apart from horrible Grape Boy, I just really feel like I much prefer the characters in this.
Yeah, I think that sounds quite personal. So like, just fair enough. I mean, best girl Toko. Toko is the character in that series that I watch. I anticipate her coming back in. I think she's amazing.
Yeah, I do like the villains, but
Toko best girl.
I mean, it's not true, but...
Fight me, she is.
Definitely a Chaco man.
No.
Or even Ashley.
Well, why not have both? Have Toko. Dead Leaves. Dead Leaves is such a bizarre film.
Dead Leaves is the most bizarre film I've ever seen.
It's like the writer and the crew that made it were on crack. It's also like... It feels like an inspiration for Studio Trigger.
I mean, where else are you gonna find like drill penises and adult babies?
Gurren Lagann. I feel like people don't like to admit it, but I feel like a lot of people have ripped ideas off this film.
Nah, like for me, it was just it was the scene when like he's just tearing people in half with his drill penis. See, I just remember like I picked this up at a car boot. For like 50p, and then watched it, and it was just amazing.
It's an acid trip film. I mean, it's a spectacle. It's one of those ones you watch that you can't really take your eyes off it because there's so much weird shit going on constantly.
I mean, you look at it, and I just found the main woman bizarrely hot, even though she's really strange.
I mean, what the film has, the conception, the birth, and the death of a baby in it. I mean,
that guy's got a TV for a head.
Yeah. I mean, we're avoiding the plot because who knows?
I mean, I don't think I could really go into the plot because the plot is just...
Yeah, it's an acid trip film. I mean, it's definitely a spectacle. I can see the entertainment value of it.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Nostalgia. I wish I could have put Yu-Gi-Oh on mine.
Well, it's here, so you're fine.
I wish I could have. Yu-Gi-Oh is so fucking good. Yu-Gi-Oh is so good. Like, there's so many episodes you go through. You could have a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. Like, it's so good. It's such childhood. It's better than Pokemon cards.
I would never have played the game if I didn't watch the anime.
Sorry, Yugs.
Yugs.
I also think season 2 is massively underrated as well.
My leather pants.
The abridged series gave it a new resurgent. I still think the original was amazing. I still think the original is so melodramatic and so awesome because that's the thing. It had
so good.
Had crossed this line, didn't it? Of it could have easily been cringy and camp, but it just
it was
kind of
cringy and camp in a good way.
Yeah, it was melodramatic and flamboyant. Like the good way of saying cringy and camp.
But yeah, no, it was the kind of, I suppose, secret undertones in like the dub, but not so secret, I suppose, in the sub of all the. We're actually just going to kill you. We're not like.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to murder you after this game or during this game.
So many stuff that happened in that series was so on point. I think my favourite episode till this day is the Slifer Side Dragon episode with the silent one.
That was real good. But I think for me, one of my favourites was the Arcana episode where he's like, I'm going to slice off your legs.
Oh no, wait! I really like the one where he summons Kaiba summons Obelisk and then sacrifices it for Blue Eyes because he had that dream. He's like, no. Oh, I really like the.
Kaiba has too much of a boner for his Blue Eyes.
I really like the filler as well, where they went into the digital world of Noah, and they had the game card master cards, the deck master.
This is the one where they all turned into little crappy cards, wasn't it? I'm Cyber Soldier.
Yeah, I think it's because I like the Big Five. I think they're really funny and really like Saturday morning villain.
Also, it gave birth to Marek Ishtar, and he's one of the hottest villains ever created.
Oh, that's true. I mean, he's not as hot as Bakura.
I'm gonna annoy the hell out of Joe and say that he's way cooler when he's like Yami Marek.
No, he's not.
He's way more manic. he's
to be fair, the character that I thought was most underappreciated in that series was Odeon. Odeon,
I think he was appreciated just right.
He was so cool.
Oh, the episode where Joey almost beat Merrick. And he's like dying, and he had to declare an attack, and then he collapsed. Oh man, it's so good, so good. There's so much great stuff that happens in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like,
for me, I still don't understand the bloody card game myself.
Yeah,
but you wanted to.
You wanted to play it though, right?
Probably. Well, someone tried to teach me Magic the Gathering, and that
who would do that? Did you ever see the movie? The Millennium movie that came out, the newer one.
Which one?
Kaiba is trying to like figure out. He digs up the Millennium Puzzle because he's so butthurt that he didn't beat. Oh, you should watch that. It's the newer movie that came out.
The new one. We watched it.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember watching that.
It's the one where he's like, oh man, Yugi's dead, but I didn't beat him.
Yeah, and he's so butthurt. He makes a hologram with him, but he says it's not good enough.
Keeps trying to bring him back to life so he can beat him.
Yeah. And then eventually he goes, fuck this, and makes a time machine.
Because, just do that on a whim.
I mean, Kaiba's a bit. His ego is so big, he had to beat him.
All those other weird kids who were like, we've got these powers, and it's just like, fuck off, I want to summon Yugi!
Who cares? It was all about how big Kaiba's ego was, the film, and it was amazing. I love Kaiba. Konosuba! Another series that I wanted on my list.
Isekai Heaven!
Konosuba is probably the best comedy anime I've seen in such a long time. Like, it's so funny, it's so on point. All the characters are likable without being good characters.
they're all relatively shite.
They're all bad characters.
Good at the same time.
They're all bad characters. It's just like they're enjoyable to watch. Like the main guy's useless. Realistically,
the main guy has almost no skills.
But he gets stuff done though.
He can do very little without anyone else's help.
Yeah, but the thing is, the main character gets stuff done. He does. He uses the tools he has and gets stuff done, despite what everyone thinks. He does it in horrific and horrendous ways, but he gets stuff done. Have you seen the film?
No.
Oh man, the most recent film's so funny.
But yeah, like Aqua's got like amazing powers, but like it's fairly useless without the support of anyone else.
Yeah. But she's the healer.
Megumin's like, I've got one hit to kill you, otherwise I'm gonna die.
They're all degenerates. They're great.
And darkness is just darkness.
This is the thing as well. Like Aqua should really be so broken, but she's just got such a toxic personality, and it's so unhelpful.
Hazukwa.
Yeah, and then Megumin, like I say in the film, Megumin they go to Megumin's hometown. It is so tragically funny. Like it's so on point.
I was gonna say, is this the one that's got like her friend from school or something in?
It's got a friend from school in, but she goes back and you see her parents and her family.
Okay.
It's really good. And you figure out that it's not just her whole hometown is retarded.
Okay.
It's so good. And I mean, I don't want to spoil the film, but it's such a good plot point. It's so good. Oh, it's so funny. Konosuba.
I just love the fact like his steal ability is great. I like when it's just the thing that he values the most.
If I wasn't so... I don't really know if it's that, because he doesn't really come off as that bad as like a pervert, but somehow falls into the trap of being a massive pervert all the time. It's really sad. The one where he ordered the succubus.
I really like the vampire woman in this as well, so
Yeah.
I feel like she needs a bigger role.
The vampire or the necromancer? The lich woman?
I thought she was a vampire, but she may have been a lich.
I think she's a lich because she's like undead. I think I'm not sure if it's Para.
Yeah,
and
I know she's undead. So.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about though, but yeah, because he gets life strain off her, doesn't he?
But yeah, I just she's such a great character.
She's really OP as well, and they're slowly but surely recruiting all the bad guys as well. Because you got the mask dude who can't effectively die because he just thinks he's the mask.
I just like the fact she's just I'm starting to turn invisible.
Yeah, because she's like undead. She's only mana. She hasn't got any physical form. Oh god. And the town is charming as well. There's so much good stuff going on in
Konosuba. Oh yeah, I love the everyone in the bar and stuff like that.
If I wasn't didn't just have a giant nostalgia boner for Panty and Stocking, this would be there in my list. Well, I think that's all we really need to say about Konosuba. We don't just watch it. It's hilarious. If you haven't watched Konosuba and you're an anime fan, I don't really know what you're thinking.
Yeah, we need another season.
So yeah, that's our 3x3s. I know it probably dragged on longer than we were expecting, but I'm glad that we took the time of it. With these 3x3s, they do take a bit longer. We'll probably do these very rare and often, rarer than often. Rarer than often, because of how time consuming they are. But I do want to stick a few of these in every now and then. But maybe we'll just talk about one person's 3x3 or something, and then everyone else can just make fun of it. I don't know or something. But yeah, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.